Good morning and welcome to our UBC Learning Circle Indigenous Health Administration and Leadership Program, IHALP 2026 information session. Today's conversation is presented in partnership with the Center for Excellence in Indigenous Health. We'd like to thank the First Nations Health Authority for generously funding the UBC Learning Circle and allowing us to have these conversations. And before we formally begin, I'd like to acknowledge with respect and gratitude that I'm joining you from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Feel free to introduce yourself and the nation you're calling in the chat box. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Seraine Squawkin. I am Syilx Okanagan on my mother's side and Hickory, Apache, and Belgian Settler on my father's side. I will be the moderator for today's discussion, and joining us working behind the scenes is Cynthia, our production coordinator, and Kira, our program assistant. They'll be interacting with everyone in the chat. And finally, before we get into today's discussion, I'll provide a gentle heads up that the topics covered may be sensitive or emotionally triggering. Please make sure that you're looking after yourself, and if at any point in time you need to talk to an elder, friend, counselor, or family member, don't hesitate to do so. We have some prompts in the chat if you need additional support. Now I'll turn it over to our guests to introduce themselves.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Melanie Rivers. I'm from the Squamish Nation. My ancestral name is Tieltuit, and I'll be sharing about the Indigenous Health Administration and Leadership Program today with you all. But before we start, I want to pass over to Elder Corinne Paul to start our session off in a good way. So, Hoichka, Corinne.
Thank you, Melanie. Good morning, everyone. I do see an old friend of mine online, so I have to say good morning to Grant Bird. Hi, how are you? Ana Siam Nasiaya, I Tanishqualoan, Quincy Quetznala, Niskli Quince Siatala Aitsoel. Quathami Huatana Huanan. Colleen Quanasqui, E Thanatan Gale Point, E Quathna Manalsh, Robert Point, Quathna Sila, Francis Point, E Tennesila, Minnie Thomas, Tsleil-Waututh. Tennyson Wamathquiam. Setem Seni Ni Twala Siatella Siam. Heitzepka Siam Nasiaya. My honored friends and relatives, I am happy to see you all here today, and I want to thank all of you who have come here on this good day. My name is Corinne, and my mother is Gail Point, and my late father was Robert Point. My late grandfather was Francis Point, and my late grandmother was Minnie Thomas from Tsleil-Waututh. I am from Musqueam, and I raise my hands to all of you. I'm grateful to you, esteemed ones. I want to do a quick little prayer for the day to start us off in a good way. So, good grandmothers, good grandfathers, creator of all good things, it is I, Corinne, Koemots. I give thanks for this new day. I give thanks for all that you provide to me. I ask in a good and humble way to have good encounters today. I'm thankful for this group. Take care of those in need and watch over all of our families that we are away from today. All my relations. Heitzepka Siam. So my name is Corinne Paul. I was the health director for Musqueam, which is where I'm from, for 33 years. And After that, I went to First Nations Health Authority for a couple of years. And after that, I went to Tsleil-Waututh and was the Director of Community Development, and then the Director of Health. And then they combined the two roles and made it Director of Health and Community Development. It was good to work there with the people from my grandmother's reserve. They were a family that we used to go and visit all the time that I was a child. And so it was good to have that reconnection. I've learned I've learned a lot over the years. I want to say one of the things that I learned probably the best was that you don't know what you don't know. And quite often it's when you determine that you're going to do something, you learn as you go. And when you're in a good space, when you have a good mind and a good heart, those things that you need will come to you. So one of the things that I discovered along the way as I was health director here at Musqueam was that our people who live on reserve, and a lot of our people who don't, are very frightened to go to the doctors and the hospitals and emergency care. And they need to be in a safe space. So what I wanted to do was to create a primary care clinic on reserve, because too many people were afraid to go off reserve to seek help. And so I started lobbying the municipal government. I started going to meetings in Vancouver when they were discussing, and this is as far back as 1992, to say we need a clinic on reserve. And really what I'm talking about is cultural safety and humility, because of our people being so frightened to go somewhere where they don't feel safe. So anyway, over time, we did get the funding, and we actually didn't get funding right away. What we got were positions. So we got an NP for BC. So we got a nurse practitioner on reserve. And then we got funding from FNHA for doctor sessions. So then we hired a doctor. But I had a nurse practitioner and I had a doctor in a space on reserve, but I didn't hire an MOA. I didn't know that we needed, I knew that we needed someone like a receptionist type person to book appointments and make appointments, but I didn't know that we needed a medical office assistant. So, and it was only by going to visit the doctor one day, and he had a piece of paper on his door, and he said, "If I'm busy, please wait. If not, please not." And it was just a piece of plain white paper on his door. So then I thought, how do I know if he's busy? And then I kind of listened to the door to hear if I could hear him talking. And then I thought, I don't want to be eavesdropping. So then I finally reached up after a few minutes and knocked on the door, and the doctor opened the door and he went, "Oh, hi." And I said, "I guess we really need to get you someone, huh?" And poor guy, he had been working there for how long? And so then we started discussing this, and we started talking about all of the supports that they need. And that be like CERNA or Paris, like the things to access labs and to access, people's hospital care, things like that. And of course, medical office assistants know how to work in those systems. So, but I think what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid. Like, don't be afraid to dive in the deep end. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the good thing. And once we opened the doors of our primary care clinic, we went from 0 to 600 people within, I think, 4 months. And there were so many people who wanted to be at the doctor's office on reserve. And the reason for that is because they felt culturally safe. They felt they the doctors and the MOA and the nurse practitioner, they were all aware of what we were doing. And I don't mean to cause offense to anyone when I say I didn't want to open a white clinic on reserve. We wanted it to be First Nations clinic on reserve for First Nations people so that they could feel free to express themselves so that they could be safe. We hung up weavings, carvings, um, and prints and made it's a beautiful little space, but we outgrew it really quickly too. I don't have too much time today and I don't want to take up too much of your time. What I really want to do is I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you because I feel that this is the best and most meaningful work that I have done working with the Indigenous health programs at UBC. I also work with 2324 and the doctor's admissions program. Having more people in the field that understand what atrocities happen to First Nations people and learning ways to navigate in those systems is, it's like that old, it's like the ripples on a pond. It just, you start one and the ripples just go out and out and out, and you'll be constantly teaching and constantly learning all through your life. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry if I sound garbled. I always get a little bit nervous doing these things, but I really do just want to encourage you. And if ever anyone would like to speak to me, the Learning Circle has my contact information. IHKCM, HITSEPKCM, thank you so much.
Waichka, Corrine, really appreciate you starting us off in a good way and reminding us or grounding us in why we're here to learn about the Indigenous Health Administration and Leadership Program and how it might support you in your learning and in your career, or for maybe someone you're here to learn about the program for someone in your community that you want to share this along with. So thank you so much. So I'm just going to finish introducing myself and then we'll do a round of quick introductions. And then I'll start sharing my presentation on the program itself. So I am calling in from Squamish lands. I'm calling in from my community, and the short version of how we say our program is IHALP. So you might hear us say that today. The in-person part of the program is held on our Vancouver campus on Musqueam unceded lands. And so just want to acknowledge the traditional lands that we're all calling in from today. I work at the Center for Excellence in Indigenous Health, which is one part of the partnership of this program. And I'm going to pass it over to Garrity next to introduce herself. Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat.
Thanks, Melanie. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see over 100 people here in our meeting today. My name is Garrity Reese, and my ancestry is Inkla from Boston Bar on my mother's side and mixed European on my father and my mother's side as well. I'm calling in from Samiamu today, And yeah, just wonderful to have all of you. I was a student in IHALP. I graduated in 2024. It's getting a bit blurry. I've been part of the program for 3 years. So after graduating, I became the peer mentor for the program and am part of the ongoing um, meeting with students throughout the whole year of your program to help support and bring us all together throughout the year. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Garrity. I'll pass to Cynthia next. Cynthia S. Sorry. We got 3 Cynthias online today.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia Tam. I am a program coordinator at ABC Extended Learning. I'm joining from the Coast Salish traditional and unceded lands of the Tsawwassen First Nations. And I work closely with Neha and Melanie to support the instructors and students of the program. I support the administrative side of IHELP, and I also correspond with potential applicants like yourself. So welcome.
Thank you, Cynthia. And other Cynthia?
Kelekasa Nukwam Asaguilo. My name is Cynthia. I am Gixen, Shimshin, and Quagios in German. I currently work at First Nations Health Authority as an executive assistant, and I'm very happy to be calling in today from the traditional unceded territories of the Coquitlam First Nations. And I look forward to hearing a little bit more and sharing more later. Thank you.
Thank you. And Leanna?
Anse, Isquis, Leanna Curtis. I'm coming to you online today from the unceded territories of the Syilx people. I am Cree Métis, originally from Treaty 6. I work at the Kelowna Friendship Society as the Indigenous Health Coordinator, and I work in outreach. And also with the Primary Care Network as the Indigenous Health Coordinator for the Central Okanagan Division of Family Practice. I'm grateful to be here and to hopefully encourage some students and give them confidence that they can do this program as like I did it. If I can do it as a single mom and working full time and all other things going on, you can do it too. And it's made such a huge impact in my life professionally and personally. Rasi.
Ichka. And Neha?
Thank you, Melanie. I'm Neha Shivhare, and I work again closely with Melanie and Cynthia Tam, and Cynthia L as well. It has been such a wonderful experience working with this team for this program, and I would say I feel greatly honored. And it's always a huge learning experience to connect with different cohorts. So I'm looking forward to having some of you with us and again continuing this journey of learning together. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. So I'm going to start sharing my screen now and going to overview the program. And we'll have questions at the end as well. If you have any questions about the program or you're thinking about applying to the program. So first of all, welcome to the session. And you've met the team here today. So the main grounding central thing about this program is it's designed to promote the health and wellness of Indigenous people. So this that's our underlying foundation for all the courses and all the learning, and it's rooted in the core values of resiliency, culture, and Indigenous perspectives. So all the readings and resources that are in the program, the instructors, the participants, all are moving towards this goal of promoting the health and wellness of Indigenous people. So it's a partnership. It's hosted in partnership between the Center for Excellence in Indigenous Health, where I work, and UBC Extended Learning, where Cynthia, Tam, and Neha, and Karen, who's the executive director. And this partnership has been around, and this program has been around since 2004. And I always like to highlight that because I've personally worked in Indigenous health work for over 20 years, and I know that partnerships are really valuable, and it's not always easy to find um, real solid partnerships that are with allies that really respect and work well with us and support us and advocate, hold us up. And so this partnership is an example of that, and the testament of it being from 2004, this partnership, I think is really valuable. So the program, again, designed to build and enhance your knowledge of health administration, so you can confidently design, lead, and deliver holistic health and wellness programming in Indigenous organizations and communities. So there's 5 courses in the program, and people go through the program as a cohort together. And all, again, working towards this goal so that you can build your knowledge and that you can directly apply it in your either current work or future work. So a lot of people are coming to the program already in a health role. Some people come, they want to get into health and haven't worked there yet. And so, all the homework assignments and things can be directly applied to your current or future work environment. So we are centered on Indigenous approaches and traditional teachings. So we have elders that participate in the program. We spend a little bit of time out on the land, going to the UBC farm, having a sacred fire. And every time that we come together in person, we sit in circle together and have that chance to connect and share and hear from each other how things are going with the program or how things are going with the work and community. It can be isolating to work in community sometimes, or heavy. This work isn't always easy, and what I've witnessed is the participants in the program really gaining a lot of support from each other and from that opportunity to share in circle together. And then all the readings and resources in the program are also centered on Indigenous voices and perspectives and teachings. So it's really important for us to build together a culturally safe and supportive learning environment. So that happens, the key word being together. So the participants that come to the program, the instructors, the staff, peer mentor, elders, everyone that comes is coming with that intent to build that space. Of course, with any cultural safety, really that's only defined or evaluated by the people that are participating in the program, whether they feel safe to learn and share. So supports for you in the program. So we also, what I've witnessed over the years, I've been working with the program for 6 years now, that peers become friends, colleagues, and mentors, and those connections remain, after the program as well. We have our peer mentor role, and Garrity is going to share a bit more about that role in a little bit. We have elders that participate, the staff and the instructors. We have amazing instructors in the program as well. And they're here to guide you, support your learning. We have a list of mental health and wellness supports for Indigenous people and some learning resources. And we also really ask people to ensure that they have their own personal supports in place as well, because it is challenging to juggle. People are working, families, and taking the program and doing, the classes, the travel to classes, the homework assignments. So having personal supports, from whatever those supports are for you, as well as if support from your work, if you're currently in a work role, because there'll be class time that does happen during the week, and just so that you're able to set aside that time to come to class. Okay, so I'm going to pass it now to Garrity to share a bit more about the peer mentor role.
Thanks, Melanie. I mentioned, so I was a student with IHALP, and that was my graduating class with the picture, which was that Melanie just shared on the slides. And it just brings back such feeling of like connection and what we shared in our cohort when I was a student. And then I've had the very grateful experience of going forward as the peer mentor in the last 2 years. So the cohort from last year and the current cohort that we're in. And many of our classes in IHELP are virtual. And if we had classes in person, or when we do, we have time to connect and chat with each other, and be able to have that conversation and dialogue outside of class. So what we do in the IHELP program is we have a virtual tea time. And myself as peer mentor and whomever wants to join comes in before class. We have time to connect. We have time to share what's happening in our work lives, our personal lives, and our experience in the program together. So that's part of my role as the peer mentor, is to help give us time for that connection that we would have in person. So we have that time together when we're doing virtual classes. And then throughout the year, as well as you're going through assignments and you're going through your learning, there's of course questions and things that come up throughout the year that you want to check in on and want more information. So I'm there throughout the whole year as well, to connect with people, to connect with students as things surface and come up throughout the year in your learning. And yeah, I just wanted to speak to my experience as a student and as the peer mentor too in our work in healthcare, as Indigenous people in Indigenous communities. It's stressful work. It's hard work. We're often facing, really large systems that are challenging to navigate, that have a lot of colonial beliefs that are still embedded. And what I found in the program is that we are able to create a community. We're able to have dialogue together where we can share those experiences and the challenges that we all come across. And for me, that's really helped to help me feel connected, and that there's a whole community, a whole group of people that are doing the same work with the same good intentions in the same good way, to carry forward health in our communities, and to share that work together. So that's what I've found in the program, and that's what I found in our tea time together. And it's just been a really uplifting experience for me. and feeling less alone in work that can feel very challenging at times. So yeah, so really excited to have all of you here, and I'm also here to answer any questions as well after the session. Please feel free to reach out if you want to connect as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Garrity. And we wanted this peer support role because each course has a different instructor, and so having the peer support role be the same person, you've got that relationship and touchstone throughout the whole program. So thank you. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. So our program is taught by Indigenous instructors. And so we, just to give you an example of the instructors from this current year, we have Daniel Mitchell, who has lots of amazing, great energy. She's Métis. Len Pierre taught our Indigenous Health and Wellness course. Lauren Brown, Drew St. Laurent, Reciprocal Consulting. They work in, specialize in Indigenous evaluation and research. And June. So those are our amazing instructors. They bring a wealth of knowledge. They're working and living in community and doing this work and sharing their good teachings with all the participants. And the program is set up to be flexible to allow you to work from your home community or wherever you're living, whether that's an urban setting or a rural setting, and to work or to go coincide with your work and your family commitments. Not to say that that's easy to juggle all those things, but we do sort of compress the time that the class times are so that you can set aside that time for class while also still being able to live in your wherever you are currently living. So I think that piece is important. Some of the program is virtual and some of the program is in person, and we do that sort of option to allow more people to be able to attend the program because it can be costly to travel and take that time away from work and family with that travel. But then when we come together, it's incredibly rich experience. I always get little like tingles or shivers in my spine when I think about sitting in circle together because it's so powerful. The amazing people that take this program and what is shared and learned amongst each other. So that in-person part is really valuable. And so we have that mix of some of the courses are virtual over Zoom and some are in person. Oops. We've highlighted this piece a few times, but I think really there's a lot that's learned from the instructors, but there's an incredible wisdom that comes from the participants themselves in the program and the learners in the program, and so much discussion and learning that happens between each other in the program. So just to describe a little bit the structure of it, and I know this can be a little confusing because it's not just one way. We've got this sort of two ways that the program runs. So a course is either virtually with weekly classes held on the Fridays. So Fridays seem to be a day that people felt was a good day for class. So 9:30 to 12. We try and keep the Zoom classes not too long because it's harder to concentrate on Zoom than it is in person. So when the classes are virtual, we do them weekly to keep that connection going and not to have like 3 full days on Zoom because that can be challenging. And then when we do have the in-person courses, those are 3 full days in person. So everyone travels to the Vancouver campus, and we spend 3 full days doing the in-person course learning. And then people go back to their homes, and there's assignments. So all the courses have assignments. Roughly, there's 3 assignments per course. And there's opportunity to connect in the virtual classroom as well. And we put people in little pods, learning pods. So there's, whale, wolf, eagle. We have little learning groups where people will have that connection throughout the whole program and be learning from each other around their assignments and supporting each other through that way as well. Garrity mentioned the tea time on Friday mornings, so that's virtual over Zoom from 9 to 9:30. That's optional if people want to come and get a little more support or connection that way. It's our way of, like, if we were in person, before class, we're often chatting, grabbing tea and coffee and chatting before class or during breaks. When we're on Zoom, we don't get that opportunity. So that virtual tea time is to give that more informal opportunity to connect that way. So all the in-person classes are run from full day Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We have the schedule up on our website that you can have a look. It's really important, if you are thinking of taking this program, that you would set aside those dates and those times for class, both the virtual classes and the in-person, and ensure that you have your support from your employer to take that time as well. And then we have weekly readings and 1 to 3 assignments per course. And I'll go a little bit over what an assignment might look like as well. And then some instructors do virtual office hours or opportunities to connect individually as well. So in trying to figure out, so if you are considering taking the program and trying to figure out, is this program for me? I know a lot of people say they were nervous to apply, but we're so glad that they did. I think what, Corinne shared in the beginning around the importance of this learning for our communities, for ourselves, for your careers. And we have a whole range of people that take this program with different backgrounds. But it's designed for people with a passion for making a difference in the health and well-being of Indigenous people. So people come from remote settings, rural settings, urban settings. So some are coming from working in First Nations communities on reserve. Some are coming from urban Indigenous organizations. Some come from health authorities, maybe with the Indigenous programs or Indigenous positions, people from friendship centers. So there's a whole range of settings and locations that people come from across BC, across Canada. And we have a range of First Nations, Métis, and we've had a few Inuit students come through the program as well. And maybe some people come, they aren't currently working in health, but they'd like to move into working in health. So that is also, and some people come with grade 12 education, some come with certificates or diplomas, some come with master's level. We've had a whole range, and that also adds to the richness of the conversation in the class as well. So after this, we're going to hear from Leanna and Cynthia, who are currently in the program, to share I'm not going to go through the description of each of the 5 courses. You can read more about that on our website. I do have a slide in this slide deck as well, which you can look at what we cover in each of the courses. But just to generally say, there's 5 courses in the program, and so we start with the communication and leadership course as sort of a foundation of starting with self and figuring out, what does it mean to be a leader in Indigenous settings. And leader, can be defined in many ways. It doesn't have to be a formal leadership position. We have a sort of fundamentals course that goes over human resources, priority setting, planning, and financial management, developing proposals, sort of those nitty-gritty things of running a program. We have a program that looks at evaluation and research and policy, all from, again, Indigenous lenses. We have information management, and we have one course just specifically on Indigenous health and wellness teachings and perspectives. So the 5 courses run over about 10 months. And as I said, we go through as a group together, so you really get to know your cohort. So I'm going to pass over first to Cynthia S. To share what it's like in the program. I think it's really valuable to hear from people that are in the program, because everyone has a little bit of a different experience with it, and just what is it really like to do this, and they might also be able to answer some questions after as well if you have some for them. I'll pass to Cynthia.
Thank you, Melanie. Yeah, so it was, I learned about this course through a coworker of mine. She took the previous year's session, and I followed up with her just to see how she liked it and if it was worth going to. And she absolutely loved it. She was a single mom of 3 kids, 3 young kids. And I thought, okay, well, I just turned 50 and I haven't been to school in like over 20 years. And so there was a lot of like apprehension, a little bit of anxiety. I wasn't quite sure. And, but, when I found out how valuable she found the course and she was able to successfully graduate with what was on her plate, I thought I can do this. And it's been a really great experience coming back to school. The reading materials aren't onerous. They're easy to manage. The assignments, are self-reflection, so really condensing and being on point to what you want to share. And I found that it's made me very introspective, about what's happening in my life and what's important and where my values are. And how does that align, especially if you're talking about pandemics and the opioid crisis and stuff like that. And and just looking at like, okay, what's my part in this and what can I do? Not just at an organizational level. And what brought me to this course is I actually spent 20 years in child welfare. My background's an executive assistant, so I've been an executive assistant for over 20 years. And so I recently moved from child welfare over to the health field. And, the issues and the funding and all that stuff is the same, but some of the terminology and some of the things I just wasn't sure about. And in supporting executives at a higher level, I just wanted to gain a deeper understanding about the healthcare field, and these different areas that they're talking about. And yeah, so I've been finding it really exciting. And I think there's been a few of us in the course that have, really taken a look and like, okay, well, is this my current job? Is this really what I want to do? Or can I dip my toe somewhere else and expand my knowledge in my toolbox? And it's been so great, the in-person classes. Um, there's always these subtle reminders of traditional teachings that come up, and there's a real sense of cultural safety and being able to share within the group. And like they mentioned, there's the different little pods. So you have your little working pod that you provide feedback and collaborate with and stuff. And that's been really, really helpful as well. And having Garrity tea time and that extra support, and having people peer review if you're not sure and having ask questions. Yeah, it's been really good. And I think there's a few people, and I'll speak for myself. It's been really challenging this year personally. Having a lot on my plate and juggling multiple things. Yeah, not just work and school, but life. And sometimes that can really um, kind of, I don't want to say affect, but it could take a toll on your emotional, mental, and spiritual self. And having the support and being able to talk to people through the course and get that encouragement, it's been really great. And yeah, I've found it so valuable. Yeah, I don't know what more to say than that, but open to questions after if you need. And I'll pass it back to Melanie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll pass it over to Leanna now.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Ken? Hi.
Yeah.
I echo what Cynthia had just said about transformative. This program it can be challenging, of course, with time. I'm a single mom. I work full time. I actually have a brain injury. Um, so sometimes it is hard to focus and speak. I had a brain tumor, so I had paralysis in my face, so I'm still adjusting to that, the way I speak, and just being in the cohort in person was one of the most impactful experience. It's emotional. Whew. And I laugh, but it's just it's so impactful just to be Indigenous and be in a group and a cohort of just these Indigenous people that not everybody is Indigenous in the program, but just the powerfulness of the people in the program with me. Not everybody has a big job in the program, like a title, let's say. Some are just there to, learn more and be an ally and, um, get the perspective that's not out there, and now it is. I work as the Indigenous health coordinator for primary care. There's not a lot of things that were in policies for some of the things that I'm doing now in the primary care interior health steering committees that I would have never been able to voice or say. This program gives you the words, and it challenges you to learn, and that's growth. And our people need a lot of healing, and this program will help bridging Indigenous ways of knowing and being and Western ways of knowing in the medical system. It's two-eyed seeing. It's an accessible program. On Friday mornings, we do the learning, and I usually don't turn on my assignment until Friday after work, because I find working full time, it becomes too much, and a single mom with a special needs child. Um, it's a lot. So that's what I do usually on the weekend when I'm learning these things and reading the stories, and even reading. I'm the Eagle clan. We have different clans in our cohort to upload our assignments. Eagle clan, and even just reading my fellow colleague students' assignments and hearing their stories, and Len Pierre, who was just teaching us the Indigenous health wellness, was, oh, I can't even speak enough about all the teachings he's given, the wisdom he has, and the generousness of his knowledge, and he's committed to the growth of our people, and that's what makes a good teacher, right? Their passion, and it's not he's not just doing it to have a job. He's doing it because he's transforming our people and our community and our future generations. And this is just the beginning, I'm hoping, of education for a lot of people. Learning about this, it's so important. I'm actually going to take another course coming up from UBC, the UBC Sauder School of Business, the business program, the Métis MNBC, and the UBC Business School to develop the program, and it's on night. So I'm feeling so inspired. I'm going to take another program. So, oh my God. So anybody can do it. And if you want to do it, you'll do it. And for me, I was struggling in the beginning with funding. So I got the grant. There's a government grant you can get to pay for half of it, the program, and then MNBC sponsored me for the rest. And I'm just eternally grateful. I thought, whoa, like, what's going on here? How did this happen to me? Like, how do I get to do this? I already think that I get to do this work and outreach and help people. But I get to learn this stuff, and it changes you, it transforms you, it empowers you. It's healing for telling your own story, because you have to think about it and put it on paper, and it's that critical thinking that sometimes we don't do it. We just function. So I'm so grateful, and I'm feeling so grounded from this program, and speaking in a good way to tables that have all these full academia brains. And for me, I quit school in, I think, grade 9. I went back to school eventually, taking courses here and there, and became an RMT. And I took HCA program here in BC, and I was in the healthcare system for a year, and that was enough for me to figure out this is not good. So what else can I do? Let's figure it out. So I'm so grateful to have this role that I'm in now, and this learning has just enhanced that ability for me to speak um, in a good way for our people. So I am emotional, and but that's okay. And I learned this in this course from Len Pierre, and his quote, "Tears are medicine." And before, I was always thinking, tears make you weak. Don't cry, Liana. Don't say nothing. No, you're weak. You're not weak, because tears are medicine. And it's just having that comfort of the cohort, and the relations I've built, and yes. Anyway, I'm so grateful.
Waichka, thank you. Leanna and Cynthia, really appreciate you sharing your your experience, your heart, your tears with us today. One thing I also learned from Len was he says, bring the water. It's a gift to bring the water. So thank you for bringing the water today. Um, okay, so I'm going to finish off the presentation and then we'll answer. I know some of the questions are getting answered in the chat and some we'll be answering shortly. So again, how would this program support your career? So enhancing your employability. So some people take this program not because they want to change jobs, but they want to apply it to their current work. Some people are looking to move into a leadership role or maybe um, get into the health field. So having the skill set from this program supports that. And being able to work with Indigenous communities is a highly desirable skill set. It's not an easy thing to do, and so being able to learn how to apply all of these things within an Indigenous setting is super valuable. Building those relationships and networks and helping people find meaningful employment. Oops. So the schedule, as I said, is online. You can have a look at it here. It outlines the order of the courses and the specific dates, so you can get a better sense of what that might look like and how that might fit for you in your current life. So I'm not going to go through each of the courses here, but you can read more about that on our website. So what kind of education experience do you need in order to take this program? So we've talked about the variety of backgrounds that people come. So some people with their grade 12 education, some have a master's education. But these are the sort of requirements to come into the program. So grade 12, internet access, because we do have classes over Zoom, and the ability to do word processing for the assignments. So experience in Indigenous health care program or facility, or experience working in Indigenous communities or organizations. So we often get people asking that are non-Indigenous whether they can take this program. We do give priority to Indigenous learners, and majority of the participants are Indigenous, but we do bring in people into the program that are working or living in Indigenous communities and applying that to their communities. And then also a willingness to contribute to group discussion and projects and encourage the other learners in the program. So we really think of it as a learning community, a circle, and that everyone has something valuable to bring to that. Okay. So time commitment is also something people ask or are wondering about. So how might this fit into my life? And could I do this? So we've talked about the schedule in terms of the Friday online classes and the 3-day in-person classes. And then you can look more closely at the specific schedule. Leanna and Cynthia and Garrity might have a different estimate of the hours per week, but we roughly estimate weekly readings and resources. So some of them are videos or podcasts, about 2 hours a week of that. The virtual sessions from 9:30 to noon, 2.5 hours, and assignments 2 to 4 hours per week. I mean, everyone's different in how much time they might put into those. We do have options to do video submissions for assignments as well versus written. We have the optional tea time, which is 30 hours or 30 hours, 30 minutes per week. Garrity's online 30 hours a day for you. Yeah. Um, and um, and then class time itself, whether that's virtual or in person, includes circles, small group discussions, lectures, questions, practice, applying the learning to your community. So just to give an example of what the assignments look like, because a lot of people come in quite nervous about school or, being in a university setting. For some people that, might, we all come from a legacy of residential school, and that can, impacts people's feeling of comfort around school and being there. And we do have some people that are really nervous about coming on campus and doing assignments. And so we spend quite a bit of time, particularly the first course, talking about what the assignments might look like. But generally, they're reflective papers, so not as sort of formally academic, but really looking at your lived experience, your work experience, and teachings that you might have. Teachings from your community, and what your thoughts and reflections are on what you're learning. So there's again the readings and resources to refer to in the papers, but really incorporating your own experience and knowledge and opinions as well about the topics. So that's roughly what an assignment might look like, 1 to 2 pages long. And geared towards the different topics of the course. I mean, if it's a budget part of the course, that's going to look different. It's not necessarily going to be a reflective paper, but it'd be more like developing a budget for a program. So that's roughly what that looks like. And if you have more questions about that, we can answer that. We do have, a virtual home for our class as well, which is on Canvas. So that's where everyone goes to find their assignments. You can connect with the other participants through the online platform as well. The course outline, all those things are on there. So how do you apply? So we do have a formal admissions process. There are limited spaces, so we limit the program to 25 participants, and that's so that we have a really sort of nice learning size of community where people's voices can be heard and get to know each other, and the instructors have enough time to connect with each participant as well. So there is an online application. So you'd upload your resume, your letter of intent, and 2 letters of reference. And our next cohort begins February 27th, which is really not that far away. And our application deadline is November 19th. So you can, applications are open now. People have already started applying. And we will be reviewing the applications after that deadline and letting people know after that November 19th deadline whether you've been accepted into the program or not. So I think I saw one of the questions in the chat, when would that be? So usually takes us 2-3 weeks after the deadline to review and get our communication letters out and things like that as well. And Cynthia Tam, who's online here today, she'll be the one when you send in your applications or questions online, she will be answering those for you as well. So that's the email there if you have questions afterwards as well. And the reference letters can be, a community reference letter, work reference letter. We just really want to hear from, doesn't have to be a formal education or academic reference. So how are participants selected? So we welcome applicants from a wide range of backgrounds. So really looking for your passion to contributing to Indigenous health and wellness, the alignment of your interests and goals with the program's approach and learning objectives, suitability of your previous education and work experience, so that, looking at whether you've had experience working with Indigenous people, particularly for the non-Indigenous applicants. Everyone's at a different journey as well in terms of their own personal connection and learning with their own traditional teachings or heritage or community. And so we welcome that as well, and your potential to benefit Indigenous communities. So it's been mentioned that there is some funding support. So our program seeks out donors or funders that might be able to support our participants in the program. And so the Ministry of Advanced Education has a Future Skills Grant, and there are some limited funds available. It is only BC residents that are able to apply for this funding, but the way that you do it is first just apply to the program. And once accepted in the program, we will ask you whether you would like to be considered for that future skills funding as well. So you don't have to separately initially apply to that, if I've got that right, Cynthia Tam.
That's correct. You have to receive acceptance into the program before you can actually apply for the Future Skills Grant.
So it doesn't cover the full tuition, but about half or almost a little over half. And so that's where you can learn more. See if I have any other slides. I think I'm done. I'm gonna stop share now and see answer specific questions that may not have covered yet.
Great, we have a few here. So the first question is this course available to anyone that's outside of Canada? We have some people that are asking about if it's available for people from the US, and if it is, will the content learned translate to a US setting?
That's a great question. I don't know if we've specifically had anyone yet outside of Canada into the program. If you are able to travel to Vancouver, that would be a key piece in terms of because we have the in-person portion of the program. In terms of applying to a US setting, I would say, examples are primarily coming from a Canadian setting. But in terms of applying to Indigenous settings, I think there'd be a lot that would be transferable.
I also believe one of the instructors is from the US too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next question is, if an applicant doesn't get accepted into the IHALP program, do you have any other programs that you suggest they apply that would be similar to this program?
Mm-hmm. Well, our center also has another program called the Indigenous Public Health Institute. So that's another program to consider. Maybe someone can pop that in the chat. It's a different structure in terms of it's not like a cohort that goes through all 5 courses together. So you can apply to individual institutes, which is 2 courses at a time. So that's another program you could consider applying to.
Thank you. And for anyone that's wanting to take the course but isn't able to attend the in-person due to restraints from work or family or whatnot, do you have any supports or exceptions for people like that?
It is a required part of the program because it's such an important part of the program to be able to be in person together and build that relationship in person. Now, if something comes up and someone throughout the program they're sick or something, we do have a way to kind of bring people virtually in, but it's not as ideal as being in person.
Thank you. And if people were interested in, so if they really enjoyed the certificate program with IHELP, can this translate into a master's degree or anything like that?
So we do have a formal partnership with the Masters in Health Administration program at UBC, and we've been building that partnership over a few years now and supporting a sub cohort of Indigenous learners through that program. And so um, there is some consideration around the learning of IHELP and how that might apply to the Masters in Health Administration. So that if people want to know more about that, we can also connect you with the Masters in Health Administration program.
Thank you. And you briefly, you kind of mentioned this about the accommodation. That's not included in the tuition?
That's right. Yeah. So accommodations not included. We do let people know some options on campus to stay at. Some people also, people want to find someone else in the program to share accommodation with and share costs. We can help connect people that way as well.
Great. I think Cynthia also provided some information in the chat too.
Great.
We also have another question regarding their application status. So some people are already applying and just curious to see when they'd hear back from you. And yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be after the November 19th deadline. So we wait till all the applications are in, and then we review them and respond, get our letters out to people after that. So I always want to be cautious of timelines that I give, but it would definitely be before Christmas. We would be letting people know.
Great, thank you. And I think this one was answered already by Cynthia in the chat, but what is the cost of the program and when are the in-person dates? So she has listed this in the chat and I'll just read it out. The total cost of the program is $6,575, done in 2 installments. First installment's $3,500 due February 13th, 2026. Second installment is $3,075 due August 7th, 2026. And there's opportunity to save $100 if you pay the entire program fee by the beginning of the program. So there's that. And can we get both Leanna and Cynthia to share what their current jobs are and pursued and what are like their goals with pursuing this after the program? And that's just something that was asked. We'd love to hear a little bit more from you guys. Maybe Cynthia, did you want to go first?
Sure. Yes. So currently I'm an executive assistant, First Nations Health Authority. My background has been executive management, supporting like CEOs and VPs and higher management. And this course, like I mentioned, was to really gain a deeper understanding of the health field work. And there's been a lot of work and a lot of stuff done around cultural safety and humility. And what I've found is that I've had like so many things in my mind bouncing around, like all these different concepts and ideas and questions, and not really knowing how to kind of roll it all together. And so going through this course and having those reflection papers and stuff and drawn from my own experience, whether it's from my personal life or a work example, has been so good. There was the first section, where we looked at leadership styles and developing your own leadership style and what really resonates with you. And that's what's really got me being introspective, what kind of leader am I? Is that what I am really modeling and mirroring in myself? And so having a look at that, and there's been some, my life journey, there's been some areas around cultural safety and humility that I've struggled with, and finding a voice for that now, and really looking at some of the decolonization work, like with Len Pierre that we did, there was a lot of work. I look at decolonization of stuff. And yeah, so I'm not quite sure where this will lead me to now, but I am definitely really, really interested in continuing my education, like even just hearing about the master's program and what Leanne's looking at doing. I would really like to develop my toolbox a little bit more and move back to community. I grew up in community and moved when I was young and came to the city. And I've always wanted to go back, but it's like, what gifts, what do I have to contribute, because employment's so hard for one when you get to rural and remote. And yeah, so I don't know, but I think my 5 to 10 year plan, I would love to go back home and contribute in some way, and use some of the tools that I've learned from here.
Um, I'll just share mine too. I'm also a student in the this year's cohort at the IHALP program. I'm, as you know, the Learning Circle Manager. I enjoy the program so much. It's been very insightful. I've gotten to connect with Cynthia and also Leanna and Garrity and Cynthia Tam and Melanie. And we've had Elder Corrine do the opening, and it's just been amazing to connect with such powerful people and just hear the experiences that everyone brings to the table just makes um, working in Indigenous health that much more achievable. I know sometimes when we think of the colonial Indigenous, like colonial health and colonial Western health, it can be daunting and not inviting. But when we go back to Indigenous health and see how powerful we are as a community and how we uplift one another, it just makes me honored to do that. Yeah, and while we wait for Leanna to come back, I'm just gonna ask the next question. So we kind of briefly talked about the certificate program of IHELP and how it transfers to um, the master's. Are the credits transferable to the master's program, or is it kind of just one and the other program?
Um, so it's a developing or evolving process right now with the Masters in Health Administration, and sort of how might the IHELP program apply to the Masters in Health Administration. But but there is, we are looking at giving, I don't know if it's like credit, but in terms of like there's sort of a special project within the program that the IHELP can sort of count towards.
Great, thank you. And for anyone that's applying that's an adult learner without a grade 12 but has an equivalency of 2 years college certificate program, would they be considered or be able to apply to the program?
Yeah, definitely apply and just make sure to outline all those pieces in your letter of intent. So just describe what kind of education you have and what programs you've taken as well.
Great. We just have a few more questions here. And we have someone that's has booked some time in the new year already for um, family commitments for March 2026. If is it mandatory? Like, are they still eligible to apply to be there for if the mandatory courses are in March, or do you recommend them applying for the next following year?
Um, I'd look specifically at the dates that are listed on our website for the courses and see if there's an overlap there for you. Because particularly missing the first in-person session could be challenging in terms of sort of building that comfort in the program and the relationships with the rest of the learners in the program. But if those dates aren't the same and your family commitments are at a different time and you are able to make the in-person piece, that I think that's the important piece. Um, I think that first course is particularly important. Sometimes people do, like, life comes up. Sometimes, someone's maybe had a death in the family or something that's happened, and they um, end up missing taking a course out of the 5 courses, and then they can come back, the following year to complete that course.
Thank you. And we kind of talked about mature students, but can we just revisit that around? We have a question from someone who would be a mature student who graduated outside of Canada and they're a non-Indigenous background. Would they be considered in this program? They work with the Faculty of Medicine at UBC, and they're interested to incorporate a lot of the knowledge from the courses that are listed in this program to incorporate into their own work.
Maybe I'll speak more generally rather than answering the specific situation.
Yeah.
In terms of non-Indigenous people that apply to the program. So I always like to kind of define maybe 2 different types of settings where there's people that don't have any knowledge or little knowledge about Indigenous people and are really wanting to learn and grow and build their cultural safety and bring that to their workplace, which is super, super valuable and like really important to learn. And I know that those learning opportunities aren't always that easy to find. So there's sort of that sort of desire that people have to come and learn. And then in terms of this program, we really like to sort of set aside the environment to be people that already have some knowledge about Indigenous people, so that everyone's sort of starting from a place of knowing some of the history of what's happened to Indigenous people, some experience working with Indigenous people, so that the peer conversations can be there, and that often what can happen in an education setting is Indigenous people end up sort of educating their peers about Indigenous people, and we want this program to not be a place where people feel like they have to educate their peers. So that means that we look at people's previous experience working with Indigenous people. We do give priority to Indigenous learners. And then, but if you are working in an Indigenous setting, then we do consider non-Indigenous people that are doing that. So we do get more and more applications every year, it seems, and it in terms of people applying to the program. So yeah, so I don't know. I hope that answered the question.
I think you did a great job. Thank you so much. We did have one question and Cynthia was able to answer it. So I'll ask the question and then I'll answer the question just because it was posted in the chat, and just we'll get our closing remarks and have Leanna share before. So the question was, will we be given a certificate of completion? And yes, you will be receive a UBC certificate and a letter of completion. And yeah, thank you for that question. That was our last question. But closing remarks, but also answering the previous question that Leanna was answering before she dropped off. So we'll get Leanna to share, and then we'll have everyone just share the last parting words before we close the webinar, and I'll close her up for us.
And I'll just add on the graduation piece. We do have an in-person ceremony at the UBC Longhouse as well to celebrate the completion of the program together.
Thank you, Melanie. Leanna?
I forgot. Sorry, my internet dropped. Yeah, I forgot what the question was initially, but I'm so grateful to be here and in this program. I can't believe it's actually halfway. We graduate in March, so looking forward to that. Yeah, at the Longhouse with the cohort. I'm inviting everybody I know, and I don't know who's gonna come, but I think the question was before, how do I integrate into my work this program? Is that okay? So I wrote something in case I forgot. It's just to ensure Indigenous voices help shape the system to adequately affect cultural specific supports such as Indigenous health navigators, traditional healing options. So it's integrating our voice into these policies. That is so key. That's not there. It's not there. It needs to be there, and this is just the beginning, I believe, of us doing that work. And it's heartfelt work because of our histories, and it's so meaningful. It's my life work personally, and now, and yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Anyways, thank you guys. I'm so grateful to be here, and I encourage everyone to take the program. And if you go to you go to the campus, stay at Green College because they're amazing. You can stay in the guest house, and you can get your little tray and go to the cafeteria and sit with the rows of students. And I felt like I was in a Harry Potter movie. It was amazing. And I was just waiting for the hat to come out and pick the houses and stuff. But I never went to university, so I went to colleges and remote stuff, but this was amazing. I was so grateful to be with trees. There's so many cedar trees there. There's a rose garden, or just walking from the Green College to the room where we do our class was powerful.
Thank you, Leanna.
So
We appreciate you. We know the beauty of UBC, and I hope that alone gets everyone interested. We'll just get Cynthia, Garrity, Cynthia Tam, Melanie, and then we'll have Elder Corrine to close the webinar. Just some last few parting words. Cynthia Sumner?
Parting words. I don't. I'm just so grateful. I'm learned so much, and yeah, I'm very excited, and yeah, I look forward to continued growth. Like, yeah, knowledge is power is one of the things that people say, and yeah, I really enjoy it, and anyone applied, you won't be disappointed. Is a great structure. And there's a nice summer break, Christmas break, so there's some time for self-care as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Garrity?
Something that came to mind too when we were talking about those time frames around time commitment for the program is I just wanted to share that there is flexibility when things happen in your life. And I think for the most part, everyone is working full time, very busy with work and personal life and all the things that just come up throughout the year. And I find the program is manageable and understanding. as well, and the people and instructors and everyone is yeah, there to support you. So I just wanted to share that and just raise my hands to everyone who is attending today to learn about the program, and Cynthia and Leanna for sharing your experience in the program. It was just, yeah, so uplifting to hear your reflections, and Melanie for holding everything for us, all of this information that's so helpful to give a framework for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you. Cynthia Tam.
I just want to say I'm looking forward to receiving your applications. If you have further questions, you can email me at ihelp.exl@abc.ca. Thank you.
Thank you. Melanie.
Just Hoichka, thank you everyone for joining us today, whether that's over the video later or in currently live. Really appreciate all your questions, and to everyone that shared about the program today as well, and what the program is like from all your various perspectives. I'm really honored to support this program, and always feel inspired and energized by the learning that happens, and the amazing people that take this program. So we look forward to your applications, and if you have questions, please reach out about that as well. I did forget to mention we do have like an Indigenous committee that reviews the applications as well. So
Thank you.
Hoichka, thank you, and thank you to Corrine as well for being here and supporting us today.
Thank you, Melanie. Elder Corrine, do you want to close us in a good way?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful listening to everyone. Again, I would really like to encourage everyone to take this program. I even know of health directors who were going through an accreditation project and for their band, and took the course so that they would have a certificate of being a health administrative leader. So it even helps if you are already in this type of work, because so many of us were laypersons when we started. So it's been really on my heart today, and I'm not really too sure why, but I want to say a short prayer for people that are grieving. So if you'll just join with me, good grandmothers, good grandfathers, creator of all good things, hear the prayers of the loved ones left behind, uplift their sorrow, their pain, their confusion, so they can make it through the next few difficult days. Help them to understand that death is a part of living, and give them the comfort that they need, knowing that their loved one is now at peace. Ocean. I hope that helps whoever it was meant to help. So for the end of our session today, another little prayer, just good grandmothers, good grandfathers, creator of all good things. I give thanks for the guidance you've provided. I give thanks for the words of wisdom by all of those involved today. I ask for forgiveness if I said or did anything wrong or inappropriately. Watch over my loved ones during their sleep while we're away from them. And I wish all of you health and safety as you journey forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And just before I loved hearing from everyone. It's always great to connect with everyone from the IHALP team. And I loved all the questions. It's always cool to hear everyone who's interested in whatnot. And I really advocate for everyone to take the part of this program. And I'd love to bring your guys' attention to our upcoming webinars. here on the Learning Circle. So we have Indigenous Planetary Health and Health Systems. That's with Dr. Nicole Redvers. That's on October 23rd, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we have Indigenous Youth Access of Support for Mental Health and Wellness. That's on November 4th, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. with Dr. Melanie Nelson and Adam Williams Farker. And sign up for our newsletter on our website at www.learningcircle.ubc.ca. And we look forward to seeing you all at our next Learning Circle. Lim Lim, thank you.